The Spanish announce table.
Stepdad.
It is episode 433 of the Spanish announce table, and we're having a blast already, right? Tom and I get along like, I don't know, two things that get along. Fuck it. You have found pro wrestling's best podcast. We are the Spanish announce table. That's Tom. I'm Tim. We like watching wrestling, and we like talking about it to our wrestling friends. That's where you come in. You have to be our pro wrestling friends. This isn't a question. I'm telling you, you must be our pro wrestling friends. I know where you live. You're going to be our friends, right?
Yeah, a fun fact about technology is as soon as you join the live stream, we have your location. So that's pretty cool. Is that true? I don't know. Is it a lie? Possibly, but we'll find out together, won't we?
So be our wrestling friend.
Yeah. Hey, Tim. Speaking about being wrestling friends, we like to provide content to our friends. And you know where they can get the content that we provide, Tim?
Oh, I know where they can get it.
SpanishAnnounceTable.substack.com. That is where you're going to get match of the days from me. You're going to get the morning news from Tim. First off, the morning news. Can I just rave about this a little bit? I'm going to. You can't stop me. You do such a great job with the most soothing voice to drink coffee to. And then on top of that, if you'd like to, just because sometimes I do, I like to listen to Tim talk about the news and then read along because it's also in text underneath. So say you get to one story and then your try-hard boss wants to stand over you and you go, hey, where's the report that I asked for? And you're like, fuck off, And so you hit pause on Tim's voice, but then you can read and then you can hit again and then they're joined back on the third story if you like. So you got the best news in the morning of the stories you need to know, not this bullshit ass, oh, guess what? Chris Jericho saw CM Punk at a coffee store, and now they don't like each other more. Fuck that. We give you real shit, homie. Yeah. We give you that real shit, dog. We ain't selling wolf tickets over here. We're giving you that real shit.
And these are quick. These are designed to be kind of your AP radio news breaks in the morning, right? These are generally 2 to 3 minutes long, couple stories of some of the biggest topics. And I haven't encountered this yet, Tom, but there may be a day where nothing's newsworthy and I'm just not going to do it that day. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to give you bullshit like Tom is saying, right? Luckily we haven't encountered that problem. And SpanishAnnounceTable.substack.com, that's where you can get everything, right? The links to our social medias. You can subscribe to the podcast. You can donate money to us. You can buy a t-shirt through the link to Pro Wrestling Tees. It says buy our shirt. There's all kinds of fun stuff you can do there at Substack on the SpanishAnnounceTable.substack.com, including one of those daily articles, Tom, is one that I like to call On This Day in Pro Wrestling, where we cover something cool that happened on this day in pro wrestling. And, I thought of that because we used to have a fun segment back in the day of the pro wrestling, Table Nation fans will remember here, where we would cover that stuff that happened during the week in history of pro wrestling. And to make it fun, we would make you kind of guess parts of it. So I kind of want to bring that back. Oh, go ahead.
And here's even the more fun thing. Join the live chat on YouTube as we're doing this. And as Tim gives us the on this day, I will guess, but so can you. And we have a timestamp of when you guessed and if you got it before I said it or Tim said it. So that's another reason why to join the live stream on youtube.com/SpanishAnnounceTube. But yeah, Tim, on this day, let's get it going again. I like it.
So for this pilot episode of On This Day, we will be covering 5 topics here. I picked something Monday through Friday of this week that we are here, and we'll discuss something that happened each of those days in pro wrestling history, right? You like it? Yeah, we like to call it On This Day. Pretty simple, right? So, Tom, first up, On This Day, May 1st, 2005, WWE Backlash was held in Manchester, New Hampshire. The main event featured Batista defeating Triple H to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. Also on the show, Kane, accompanied by Lita, defeated which superstar who was accompanied by Trish Stratus?
I was going to say Gene Snitsky. accompanied by Trish Stratus.
Kane was accompanied by Lita.
Yeah, Kane and Lita, and then that's when they did. I'm gonna say Gene Snitsky.
Gene Snitsky, close. It was Viscera. I don't know why that's close. It is both same kind of yeah. So after the match, Stratus berated Viscera for losing until he put her in a bear hug, gave her the big splash. She was carried out.
Remember that.
Via stretcher, not to be seen for several months. Yeah. Viscera. What a character, huh? What comes to mind when I tell you Viscera? Yep, King Mabel.
King Mabel is what comes to mind.
Right.
Men on a Mission. Remember that?
Not the Ministry of Darkness, not Viscera.
No, that was weird. And then when he's doing like the sexual chocolate ripoff, because it was really Mark Henry, but just fatter, I didn't like that either. But Men on a Mission, King Mabel, I like that. I liked when he went heel and it was him and Diesel. Remember that for the WWF Championship? Yeah, King Mabel and Men on a Mission. That's what I remember more.
That's good stuff.
That gentleman.
Yeah, Viscera. That one sticks out to me as the Mark Henry sexual chocolate ripoff, right? Because it's the whole thing about Mark Henry was you don't expect this large man to be a player, but Viscera, they turn it into just this scary looking creep. You don't want your kids around this man.
Yeah, it was hey, we don't have anything for Viscera. Well, do you remember when we did that Mark Henry thing? Yeah, what if we did it fatter? Okay, let's just do that then. That's all it was.
All right, next up. May 2nd, 2000.
Ooh, that's okay. Jesus, 23 years ago? Okay.
Yeah. The main event. A lot of living. Yeah, the main event of a WCW Thunder taping at the in 2000.
Okay.
All right, the main event of I knew you would get a kick out of this one. The main event of a WCW Thunder taping 2000. Remember WCW 2000.
Oh yeah.
At Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee, saw Ric Flair win a battle royal to become the new number one contender for the WCW heavyweight title. How many competitors were in this battle royal in WCW 2000 on a Thunder taping?
God, they couldn't have been that much because they couldn't afford that many people.
Yeah. I'll be really shocked if you guess this.
Was it 5? Was it like
no,
DDP and
way higher? Way higher than
30?
5.
30?
It was 41. 41 man battle royal. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't do any further investigating because it's WCW 2000. That's all I needed to hear. Also, as a little caveat, this match is also the last time Randy Savage would appear in a WCW ring. May 2nd, 2000.
Why? Is it? So here's the thing about, quick side note about WCW 2000 that I've always been curious about. When I think of WCW 2000, I think of Kevin Nash, Ric Flair, Jeff Jarrett, Scott Steiner, Booker T. But for whatever reason, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Scott Hall, DDP was also there because obviously the David Arquette thing. But there was a lot of like those legacy guys that just was like, nope, not here anymore. And I was just like, how the fuck did that happen?
Yeah, it just fell apart so fast.
Yeah,
did WCW 2000 or just WCW? Like it just there at the end, it was just like, oh, we're not winning anymore. Then all of a sudden, it was just like we forgot how to do this. Just everything.
Yeah, we're gonna push a faction with Road Warrior Animal and Rick Steiner, and that's gonna be what gets us over the top. What the fuck? Yeah.
All right. Yeah. WCW 2000. All right. Well, we'll move on. May 3rd, 1998.
Okay.
ECW WrestlePalooza 98 on enemy turf was held at the Cobb County Civic Center in Marietta, Georgia. The card featured Shane Douglas defeating Al Snow to retain the ECW World title.
Yeah, that was at the very end.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It
was the last. Yeah, Al Snow left after that to WWE, I believe. WWF at the time. Rob Van Dam retained the ECW TV title in a 30-minute draw with Sabu. Also on the card, Chris Candido and Lance Storm defeated Balls Mahoney and Axel Rotten to retain the ECW tag team titles. Tom, what was the tag team name for Balls Mahoney and Axel Rotten? ECW 1998. It's very fitting when you see it, but I don't think you'll guess it. Because it's probably how everybody would explain Balls Mahoney and Axel Rotten to people.
So Axel Rotten didn't really have remember he did the Taipei fucking death match with the other Rotten. But he didn't really have anything. Now Balls Mahoney had a fucking chair, right? So you keep saying it's on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
The chair swinging shitheads or something.
Yeah, the hardcore chair swinging freaks is the name.
Damn, I was almost there. Oh,
so God. You were close. Yeah. That I was like, that's exactly how you would describe Balls Mahoney and Axel Rotten to people. That's exactly what it is. That's ECW on the. I thought you might be close with this one because you were the ECW.
Oh, but 1998 ECW. I mean, 1998, just generally speaking, in pro wrestling was fucking incredible. Yeah. But ECW, because that's when you had Al Snow going fucking wild with those foam heads, and you head. Shane Douglas was still your champion, but still like almost like bigger than the ECW brand. He was becoming like that John Cena, for modern day fans. And then you had Taz on the come up that was just like, I'm throwing every motherfucker out of this ring, including Bam Bam Bigelow. And then you had Balls Mahoney, like we were just speaking of. He would always get the balls.
Yeah.
Balls. And then you had fucking the Dudleys and ECW 1998. Incredible. Go back and watch it if you haven't.
I like that. Jeffrey Sills in the chat on the YouTube, which, by the way, if you're watching this live, we go Thursday nights, typically 15 p.m.-ish Central Time. Just subscribe to the YouTube channel. You'll get the notifications. He says, what up to the best tag team since the Hogan Edge connection? I'm kind of double watching you guys in the Panthers versus Maple Leafs. Hashtag Vamos Gatos. Understandable. Totally understandable. We get it. Sports are sports. And that, watching that live generally takes precedence over some things, which is why you can always watch this later on demand on that same YouTube channel, or you can get the podcast. All those links, again, available at SpanishAnnounceTable.substack.com. And he says, isn't Balls Mahoney the guy who New Jack tried to kill? Is that?
No, that was Mass Transit. Remember, it was that 17-year-old guy who filled in, and he's like, I can bleed. And New Jack's like, really, motherfucker?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And just
yes, you can.
Now, I will clarify. He might be talking about many different people. New Jack tried to kill a lot of people. The one that is the most famous is called, because his name was Mass Transit, because he was a big fucking subway worker. That was his gimmick. Not the sandwich shop like an actual Subway.
Not Jared.
Right. But that was the most famous one. But yeah, he also tossed a motherfucker off of a scaffold. He tried to kill that old fucking Native American wrestler right before he died. Yeah, there's a lot of shit.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, we don't know if Jeffrey Sills is even referencing on-screen attempts to kill a human being, because New Jack probably, the pool widens if we go, to off-screen as well.
One of my favorite quotes in pro wrestling comes from Joey Styles about New Jack. And he says, and everything in pro wrestling is inflated, and, you try to make yourself bigger than what you are. So New Jack has 7 justifiable homicides. Given the pro wrestling math, that's at least 3. So he's killed at least 3 fucking people.
At least 3 humans, right.
And he's in our locker room.
Yeah, just hanging out. Just New Jack. Yeah. Yeah, 1998 was a wild time in a pro wrestling locker room. I'll tell you that. Might have been one of the most keep your head on a swivel times ever.
God, I would have fucking loved it. Wouldn't you have loved it, Tim? Let's just be degenerates for a quick second.
Yeah.
Our wives aren't listening. I would have been doing so many fucking cocaine rails just off of any and everything.
All the painkillers, all the everything.
Swinging chairs at fucking my best friends, hitting them in the face.
Oh, yeah. If I walk into a restaurant where one of the other wrestlers was working, I would instantly be chair shotting them in the back. It was a wild time. It was the Wild West in pro wrestling days back then. I would have loved it.
It was a live action Denny's. You know what I mean? Just fucking going around.
They are a traveling Denny's lobby was the Attitude Era wrestling locker rooms. Yeah. Was a traveling Denny's lobby. Yeah. All right, that's good stuff. Well, then let's take another look at what happened on this day, May 4th, 2002.
Okay.
At a TNA Impact taping in Orlando, Florida,
Ooh,
Kevin
okay.
Nash and Scott Hall won a handicap match to become the TNA World Tag Team Champions. Which wrestler did they defeat? Singles wrestler. Did they defeat in a handicap match to win the TNA World Tag Team Championships?
Purely a guess, but I would feel like this would make the most sense. Christopher Daniels?
Nope, it's Matt Morgan. Remember when they were trying to push Matt Morgan as like the next big Matt Morgan.
Here's my story about Matt Morgan. I went to a show in Wichita, Kansas with, and I'm not kidding you, 30 fans, 30 fans. Main event was champion Samoa Joe versus Matt Morgan. Matt Morgan lost, Samoa Joe won. You could go in the ring, you could meet Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, get a picture with them. After I did that, Matt Morgan's back there. I was like, hey, can I get a picture? He goes, heels don't sign autographs. And then fucking did the thing. And I was like, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, what
no
a
one
douche.
knows you. Wouldn't you want pictures? Because you're fucking a nobody.
Yeah.
What a goof. What a
Yeah,
fucking goof. In that instance, he's probably a good guy, but fuck him.
Also of note there, if you'll remember, Eric Young would also be recognized along Nash and Hall and would defend the titles under the Freebird rule. If you'll remember, they were the band.
Mm-hmm.
What a shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think
TNA.
it ended with and I think it ended with just Kevin Nash walking out of the ring like, yeah, I'm done with this. And he just walked up the ramp and just never been. Well, we kind of saw him again because then they did the Main Event Mafia, but there was a time period where him and Hall were just gone. So, yeah.
Main Event Mafia was good stuff, though. I'll give it that. We should go back and watch like the Main Event Mafia.
Main Event.
Lineage.
It's one of the rare things in pro wrestling where the heel faction was good, but the baby faces sucked. So typically, like, you get a good, strong baby face, but like there was no one to like oppose them. It was all just like AJ Styles getting dark and growing his hair out or something. It was just nothing good. But Main Event Mafia was fun.
But that collection of folks was just provided material that still lives on to this day, especially the Scott Steiner stuff. I want to go relive all the Scott Steiner Impact run. Like, just go back and watch his segments week over week and just relive that for a moment. The nostalgia. All right, we'll move on to the final. On this day, May 5th, 2002. One of the biggest moments in WWE history occurred. One that would change the company forevermore. What happened? May 5th, 2002.
Okay, and you said what now?
It's one of the biggest moments in WWE history. One that would change the company forevermore. What happened?
Get the F out.
Yeah. World Wrestling Federation Entertainment Incorporated officially became World Wrestling Entertainment Incorporated. The company name change was a result of losing a lawsuit in the United Kingdom to the World Wildlife Fund regarding use of WWF initials, and the new WWE branding would be unveiled the next day.
Get the F out.
I barely even remember it these days now.
Yeah, because I was in high school and all of my friends who hated pro wrestling was like, why are we calling it something different? I'm like, well, people think you can get a Panda and Stone Cold Steve Austin confused, so like they're just doing this thing. And I didn't understand it at the time. Now, apparently the WWE had a agreement with the WWF of like, hey, we won't like abuse this. And then they just started slapping just WWF without any like Rock or Stone Cold stuff. And then the World Wildlife Fund was like, no, you can't just have those letters and nothing accompanying it. Like, people think that that's our shit and you guys fucking suck. And so then that's when they took him to court. But at the time I was like, fucking what? A goddamn giraffe and Big Show. You could get confused. I was being a fucking mark, but
and that case honestly was one of the first cases that really dealt in, because of the growing kind of globalism of the economies of the world, was the first that kind of dealt in this like multinational dispute, right? Because before, in America, we could do whatever the hell we want. And then, like, in England, they could also have the same name, but they'd be like, well, fucking, who gives a shit, right? Like, it's England, it's America. And so it was like kind of a landmark, even decision sort of in, intercorporation litigation there, if I can make up a term. Jeffrey Sill says, I like this new segment. Thanks. It's a new, oldish segment that we're sort of reviving, and I think we're going to change up a little bit. I think what we may be doing on the live streams is giving you a sneak peek to the next week.
So then we can clip it, and you can watch it later
social media
on that day.
Right? But you can get the sneak peek by watching this on the live stream because you're awesome, like Jeffrey Sills is in the chat. But yeah, that was like that graphic there. Isn't that fun?
I do.
All right. So normally what we do also is we give you a rundown of AEW Dynamite because it's the best wrestling show in television.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And it had a good one last night. Tim, and we kicked it off with an Orange Cassidy match with a twist. So last night we kicked it off with an 8-man tag. It was Orange Cassidy, Adam Cole, Bandito, Roderick Strong versus the JAS, which consisted of, in this match, Angelo Parker, Daniel Garcia, Jake Hager, and Money Matt Menard. What did you think about this hodgepodge of Disputed Era versus JAS?
What a disputed era. I like that. Disputed era. It is a little disputed, right? Yeah. Long, right? This went through like 2 commercial breaks, didn't it?
Yeah. I thought it was fun. I thought when Bandito can stand next to the likes of Orange Cassidy, Adam Cole, and to a lesser extent, Daniel Garcia and 2.0, that helps him out. I just thought, I get it. Orange Cassidy and Bandito are here because they have beef with JAS, but it was really just Adam Cole. You know what I mean? And we were trying to capitalize on that Roderick Strong coming back last week, which I might have mentioned this last week on the podcast, but he's coming out to the old CM Punk song. You know that? You know when CM Punk debuted in WWE, the song he used is the song Roderick Strong is using right now.
Interesting.
Must be a free play, but I don't know. But go check it out. It's 100% the same thing. Before he came back with Cult of Personality, it was the one before that. Anyhow, but yeah, I just thought there was too many moving parts here for a story that was Adam Cole wants to beat up Jericho.
So again, if their goal was like, hey, let's put Adam Cole in this position where he gets to be mad at Jericho, and then we're going to do this segment afterwards, they accomplished that. And again, being there live was probably awesome because there was a lot of spots. It was good. I just felt like, man, by the time that second commercial rolled around, I was like, man, this is the whole night. We're taking the whole night with this, man.
Well, and that's a credit a little bit to the AEW roster because you're like, no, I still want to see what is the Blackpool Combat Club going to do? What is the Elite going to do? Hey, what's up with this trios battle royal? Who's in that? Who's, and all that. So yeah, it was a little bit of like, this is a good match, but it on the train of AEW, there's not a lot of filler. Like we want our fat trimmed and get it going because like there's so much to watch, but I will say I did like how Adam Cole picked up the victory, got the pinfall, 1, 2, 3, but immediately didn't even like fuck Roderick Strong, fuck Orange Cassidy, Bandito, all those guys. I'm out of here. Ran right up to commentary because Chris Jericho was on commentary wearing the Britt Baker t-shirt, which we may get into in just a second, and then took out the backstage, or excuse me, the backing to the commentary desk, took him through there, hit him and stuff. What'd you think about just the immediate Adam Cole runs up to get Jericho? Did you like that? What'd you like?
Good spot again. That's what they built this whole thing to, right? I noticed him coming out earlier before the match with the shirt was a nice touch to get him mad. Justin Floor here in the chat says, fun fact, Orton used CM Punk's old theme before he had it. Interesting. Yeah.
Well, and I will say, like, the only reason I say the CM Punk thing is because he used it for a longer period of time. But yes, Randy Orton did use it first. Yes, 100%.
But yes, I like this. I like that, he's fighting and then I don't know. Does security have him tied up when Britt Baker comes out and slaps him around, calls him bitch Jericho?
A later.
Oh, that's later.
A little bit later.
Right. Yeah.
So after the match, that happens. And then we go backstage to Jungle Boy and Darby Allin. But before we get there, I want to talk to you a little bit about this t-shirt that seems to be making waves on social media. So Britt Baker had
this was in our news even.
Yeah. So there was a photo that she posted herself of having a black guy from getting beat up by the Outcast. Now, Jericho was also there. But she posted the photo. The Outcast, being those dastardly heels, said, haha, we'll make it a fucking t-shirt.
Yep.
To a wrestling fan, I would hope that's just cheap heat, right? But apparently, out of the fucking thin, dusty fucking clouds of shit talking, we had to say, like, this was encouraging domestic violence. What the fuck was that about?
Yeah. I don't know who first brought that up or said it. I get what they're saying is like, I took what I gathered that their complaint was this imagery can conjure thoughts, you know what I mean, that of domestic abuse, which I'm not going to lie. The first time I saw the picture, I was like, man, she looks like a battered wife photo. So that's true. It does look similar to photos you see of people who have been the victims of domestic abuse. I understand that. That could be true. But that doesn't mean you're supporting domestic violence. It's not like you put beat your wife on the shirt. This is her. This is whatever. Now, I don't know that you want to go through being like, what is that shirt? Be like, oh, it's a wrestling thing. They'll be like, okay, like, so I get it. I probably wouldn't buy it maybe because it does somewhat appear that way. But to say like that it supports it somehow feels like a stretch. Yeah.
Well, so I got a couple comments on this. One, the shirt sucks. Like, I would never buy it. I'd never wear it. It's just a filler t-shirt that like a hardcore of hardcore fans would ever wear. Right. And they would probably just wear it on a podcast. You know what I'm saying? The second thing though is this is the widest, most privileged fucking statement to ever say. You motherfuckers have never seen chicks fight. I'm from the fucking meanest part of East Kansas City where fucking bitches like that were every week in my school. Like, we saw a woman a week looking like that. We didn't think, oh, her boyfriend beat her up. We thought Whitney was probably talking shit to Ashley, and that's the shit that happens.
Probably.
So like, yeah,
probably fucked some other girl's man and got caught.
So you motherfuckers that just instantly went to domestic violence and not, oh, she must have got her ass kicked for talking shit, are so privileged. Like, fucking, I don't know, get some dirt on your hands, you fucking cowards. So it was just the dumbest thing to talk about on Twitter. It was so fucking silly, because here's the other thing. And Britt Baker, to her credit, brought this up. No one brought up all the fucking t-shirts where she's bleeding from the fucking head.
Right. Nobody said this is supporting murder. Right.
Yeah. No one fucking had a problem with that, but apparently a black guy.
They also said if a guy would have made this shirt, nobody would have said this is supporting domestic violence. Right.
Yeah. No one would have been like, oh, he got his ass kicked by his wife. Fucking people just love to fucking complain, don't they? Like, I'm the master of complaining, but even this was like a level that is just fucking stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's another segment we need to bring back is what can't Tom complain about?
You remember you said free money and I made that shit sound fucking horrible.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Good stuff.
All right. So we go backstage. Jungle Boy told Darby Allin neither one of them had headlined a pay-per-view before, and if they beat MJF and Sammy Guevara, they will be added to the main event. Okay. And Allin said they'll win tonight and then Showtime. Okay, cool. Then we get to, in the back, Adam Cole is being escorted out by Chris Jericho, which may seem like Jericho's going to press charges, I guess, is the kind of,
I guess.
Because like, it's, when does that ever happen? Anyhow. But so as Adam Cole's being escorted out and Jericho's like, get that criminal out of here, Britt Baker calls him a bitch and smacks him upside the head.
Yeah.
And then a security guard takes Britt Baker out. What'd you think of that segment?
Bitch Jericho, she kept shouting, right? Which, that could take off. That'd be fun. Good. I mean, you know, this fits, right? I've often wondered in situations like that, right? You've got Adam Cole getting beat up, like, I know, you know, ladies don't make it a big business to go around beating up the fellas, you know, but like when you go out there and at least try to get in the way of your man getting beat up. So this fits, and I like it.
Again, I will go back to my life experience. I have seen many of men get arrested at house parties and their girlfriends try to smack the cops and stop everything from happening so he doesn't get in the cop car. So that would make sense that fucking Britt Baker would come out and do this. So again, this is just another fucking Friday night in Independence, Missouri. So yeah, I liked it. However, this is where I need things tied up, is because, okay, so Britt Baker is consumed with, what the fuck is Chris Jericho doing to my boyfriend, Adam Cole? Wouldn't you, as the outcast, go like, well, I'm going to beat this bitch's ass. She's not even looking at us. And then jump her? Like, you know?
To give you some insight into what Tom's talking about with Independence, Missouri, I love the story of when he got me a gig doing a emceeing for a cage fighting, round of matches that evening, an event, MMA event. I told my wife, I said, all right, I'm going to go to this event and do the show. And she says, where is it? I said, it's in Independence, Missouri. And she was like, geez, you got to go all the way to Independence, Missouri? And I said, well, yeah. Where do you think the people who want to beat each other up for a living are? And she was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Independence, Missouri. Yeah.
Meth capital of the world. More meth arrests per capita than any fucking city in this country. God damn it. Woo!
And yet somehow you never got nabbed for it. That's interesting. That's good stuff.
Not once.
Never once.
Almost.
Not yet.
Not once.
Yeah. Definitely not yet.
You want to know why I got married? No.
Yeah.
All right. So then let's get back to the show. So then the highlight of the fucking night happened next. Look, we had a lot of fun stuff happen in this show, but I don't think anything warmed my heart more than backstage Bryan Danielson saying Bret Hart is a piece of shit.
This segment was so fun. Yeah, first of all, I never thought of the tired old phrase that Bret Hart uses, because we almost just make fun of it anymore. But I never thought of that's a really egotistical saying. Now, that makes sense. I mean, especially when you're a heel, that you would have an egotistical saying. But I like that he was just like, well, here's something. I'm better than that guy ever was. And you know what's funny? He's right. That's what's even better about this. But if you go back and watch it, I almost use it as one of our backgrounds if it just wasn't so far, zoomed out on the screen. Moxley's face when he says it. He's like, oh, shit. Okay. Yeah, I don't think Moxley knew that line was coming, and it was great stuff. I love this whole segment, the whole thing, Daniel's part, and then even what we got from Mox.
Well, the thing that I like about Danielson is he even said, it's a very selfish thing to say that you're going to be the best that ever will be, because what you should do if you really love pro wrestling is making sure that the future is better than you. And then he even goes, this shithead, I don't even know if it was shithead, but he's like, this shithead, Yuta is going to be better than me, hopefully. And
he said something shit like little shit or shithead or something. He did. Yeah.
But I just, so far with this, heel version of the Blackpool Combat Club, one of my favorite attributes of the whole crew is that Bryan Danielson is still staying true to we're the fucking best. Even this guy, fucking Yuta. It's like, we're the fucking best.
And I don't even like this guy, but right.
It's always it's a backhanded fucking compliment to Yuta.
It's the rougher, cooler thing of the Brandon Cutler role, right? Where he's there, we don't even fucking like this guy, but get in the bus, come on, let's go.
Exactly. Yeah. We can see the talent. All right, get the fuck in. Yeah.
He's a fucking dork, but he's our fucking dork, and don't you touch him.
Yeah. If he wasn't so credible, the fun thing to do there would be to have Yuta and Cutler in a match, but Cutler has not been made to look credible in any sense of the word. But yeah, so then we go into Jon Moxley, and Jon Moxley talks about how him and Omega, just like it was in 2020, just like it was in 2021, 2022, now 2023. It's a rivalry that feels like it's been 1,000 years old and it'll never change. And then he goes on to essentially say, this Jon Moxley is a little bit crazier than the one you faced last time. And we got a steel cage match, and I'm going to wear you out. And so Kenny Omega, I think, we'll get to his part in a little bit, did fine, but Jon Moxley just does such a great job of I'm not a character. Like
Yeah.
this isn't Dean Ambrose. This is Jonathan Good, and I'm gonna fucking hurt you. And so
Yeah.
John Moxley promos are great.
That's what I like about the John Moxley character. I think I don't think his in-ring matches are bad, but that's not what I'm looking forward to with the John Moxley character in these storylines. It's these moments. It's these promos where it's just like, it just feels like any guy that you know that's sitting down and is finally pissed off enough that we have to have a fucking conversation, right? Like, you and I now got to go out back and sort this out. And it's everything you expect to hear there, right? Like, where you fucking did this, so now I got to punch your fucking nose through the back of your skull and fucking go fuck your wife on my way out. And there's not shit you're going to do about it. And that's how the whole Moxley thing comes across, and I love it.
Oh, still to this day, and I know it wasn't that long ago, but I think it's going to be a promo that at least lives in my memory for a very long time. But in the hallway, when he's sitting on the stairs talking about how Hangman isn't the animal that he is, and he's bleeding from his eye or from above his eye, and you can't see his eye as all the blood is filling it. And then the camera guy even goes, is like, look at the fucking blood that's dripping from his head. And he is just vicious and just spit and venom. Oh, Moxley promos. It's so crazy to think. Quick sidebar. It's so crazy to think you play that fucking promo, and then you go to like Dean Ambrose promos, and it was like, that's the same human. That's the same human saying the same things. Not same things, but, saying words.
Well, I think it becomes more clear of why he was so disenfranchised there, especially with how he says, there's two sides to every story, but so he may have embellished somewhat because of his annoyance with WWE, but like, I get where he's like, hey, listen, I want to do this thing. This is who I am. And they're like, no, you're going to be something completely wildly different that isn't in your bones. And yeah, it was never going to be good, right? Like, it was like, I don't want to say everything Dean Ambrose did was bad, obviously, but like, it wasn't this, right?
Well, yeah, because I think, honestly, this is again a sidebar. We'll get back into Dynamite in a second. I honestly think it was Vince McMahon looked at him, and because Dean Ambrose, John Moxley, Jonathan Good, whatever you want to call him, didn't look like Brock Lesnar, when he said, this is the idea I have for my character, Vince McMahon said, well, you don't got any muscles, so it has to be a little bit of a comedy, right? Like, you're just a yucky shuck guy. You're just going to be kind of crazy. Oh boy, he's a crazy guy, but he's harmless, right? Like, he's always going to be upper middle card, but never the guy, because he has no biceps. He has no bench press. You know what I mean? And it's like,
in fact, early Dean Ambrose, right? Like Shield Dean Ambrose, and just shortly after leaving the Shield, he was more like he is now, because it was more of that kind of gimmick, right? Like they were, you know what I mean? The security guards gone rogue to start, right? And then,
well, do you recall going back to one of my worst takes, because I've had a million of them, when I was like, they need to make Dean Ambrose a sleazy pimp, because that's kind of vibe he had. Remember, he had the slick back hair and stuff. I was like, remember The Godfather? You need to make a sleazy version of it.
Hey, hold on. That would have been, I still might, let's talk to him. Let's get him on the phone when this Blackpool Combat Club runs dry. Yeah, we can get him a hat.
Oh, that was fun times. All right, so let's get back to Dynamite here. Tim, shocker of the night. So we just talked about probably our favorite moment of the night, someone shitting on Bret Hart, as it should be each and every week. But here's the shocker of the night. The women's match was next. We had Saraya with
Not before the main event?
Not before the main event. We still had so much more show. This was still in the first hour. It wasn't even at the top of the hour. Crazy. Second match of the night.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Must have been, yeah. So we had
Saraya. It's because the first match was like
Outcast.
75 minutes long, but yeah.
Yeah. So Saraya with the Outcast.
The Mox father, Jeffrey Sills says. The Mox father. Yes.
But no, I'm thinking more sleazy. We'll try to find the audio, but it's more sleazy. Right. It's more like, hey guys, I don't have change for a 5. My woman only needs 1. So anyone, it's a little of that.
So not even an effective pimp, right? Just
no.
An Independence, Missouri pimp.
Yeah. I can show you some of the guys that I'm thinking about.
It's like, listen, I used to go, never mind. No, I'll show you some.
Hey, but support local business. Anyhow, Saraya took on Willow Nightingale.
I support local business all the time. What are you talking about? Fucking hookers and blow is a lot of money.
You don't think that goes right back to the community? Because it does.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to purchase the illegal handgun. Like, come on. Purchase. I gave money to somebody.
Yeah, someone ate dinner off the money I gave him. Okay, so it was Saraya versus the warmth of sunshine in this black cold world, Willow Nightingale. And Tim, before we even get into the goddamn match, fucking look, I love the post-match angle. Long story short, Saraya wins because Outcast has the numbers. But that's what I want to talk about. How many fucking weeks do we have to do fill in the blank Outcast member with the other two comes out against the babyface with no one around? Just, oh, got it. This'll work out this week. And I love Willow Nightingale. But let's not treat these fucking women like they're stupid.
Yeah, every single time the Outcasts get involved. So why wouldn't you bring protection, especially once we've seen all these people buddied up? All of them in other matches have had pals and friends helping them out.
Yeah, because, you know, if you go fast forward to the main event and you have baby faces and heels, but the baby faces and Jungle Boy and Darby Allin don't like each other. So it wouldn't be like if Jungle Boy goes in there in a match against Numbers, Darby Allin's going to like him or go out there with him because he's like, fuck that guy. I hope he does get beat up. But in this, Riho likes Nightingale, who likes Jamie Hayter, who likes Britt Baker, at least for this time being. So why wouldn't they just walk out with her? It makes no... Oh, it was... As soon as it happened, I was like, I know how this fucking ends. But I will say, after the match, I did not anticipate this. So,
yes,
as predicted, Outcasts are beating up on Willow Nightingale. And son of a bitch, here she is. The music of Hikaru Shida hits. And Hikaru Shida, which, sidebar, did you see the fucking shoes she was in?
Yeah.
To run in those deserves a fucking round of applause, but we'll get to that later. But she comes out with her kendo stick. She stands there and she does the stereotypical baby face about to turn where she stands there and doesn't really, and then she drops it and hugs the Outcast. Hug it out. Isn't this great? And then the Outcasts are like, then let's fucking really beat this chick's ass. And they put her and Willow Nightingale into like a crucifix position. And then out from the crowd, I think it was, comes Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. And they're standing behind the Outcast. And then Hikaru Shida's like, ha ha ha. Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter take out two of them. And then Shida fucking spray paints Saraya's eyeball.
In the face. Right in the face.
Jesus Christ.
I love this. They got me, right? So Shida comes out and I was like, oh, Shida's back. And then she drops and does the hug. And I was like, oh, nice. I was like, swerve, cool. But then I was sitting there thinking, I was like, I don't know if this is going to go over so well. Like Shida and the Outcast feels odd. Force. Right? I was like, this doesn't feel right. And then, as you said, out come the ladies dressed in black, and I was like, I see what they're doing. So they got me twice. Really effective. Done well here, I think.
But again, attention to detail. This is where hire me. I saw that they hired another podcaster, Will Washington or whatever, which credit to him. Good for you. I hope you do the job well.
Come on the show.
Yeah. I could probably do it better. But if you're in the business of hiring fucking podcasters, hit me up, because you guys fucking forgot at the end of this segment, we got Hikaru Shida, Jamie Hayter, and Britt Baker hugging it out. Hey guys, isn't this great? Let's walk off and forget Willow Nightingale, who the whole fucking thing was centered around laying in the ring. What the fuck, guys?
Yeah.
Like, they didn't help her up. They just literally left the ring.
Yeah, just let her, like a fuck her.
She's fat. Let's go. What the fuck? You guys are so stupid. It was the dumbest thing. I almost yelled. Look, it's because I love Willow Nightingale more than any of the parts of the story. But yeah, they just completely left her. I was like,
Yeah, just left her.
Dumb shits. Yeah.
Yeah, she could have woke up about the same time as the people they just beat up, and then she's got to get her ass kicked again.
Well, yeah, and she's just got to like look around like, what the fuck happened here?
Yeah, you think they're back there later, like at catering, and somebody's like, "Hey, Willow's getting beat up again." They're like, "Oh shit, we forgot Willow."
Yeah. All right. So then after that, we go to a backstage segment, pre-recorded taped interview. It's the House of Black. And Tim, let me get your thoughts on this. They are the trios champions, if you recall. And they said, guess what, motherfuckers? The house is open. Open house rules. And now I wrote this down. Hopefully I get this right. So it's a 20-second count outside of the ring.
Yep.
No rope escapes. So submissions are going to be hard.
Yeah. I like how he framed that too, right?
Yeah. And then a DQ will be enforced. But if I understand this correctly, it's decided on by the challengers. Like this is not in the rules or something. What the last thing confused me.
The last part confused me a little bit, and I took it as like DQ will be enforced if you want it, right?
Okay, yeah, maybe that.
Right? That's what we're giving you back, right? Like you can they'll call DQ, but I think you can in the moment decline to take it.
Okay.
Or before the match starts, you have to say this is no DQ. Either way, but I think it's almost better where in the moment, right? Where they'll get a chance to be like, yeah, no, fuck it, DQ him. Yeah, fuck it. You know what I mean? Or be like, I don't want it. Yeah. Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, because all right, good. That makes more sense because I was thinking like, no, hey, everything's legal except for stairs or something.
I like how he said, rope breaks won't be enforced because like there's no easy out for you here. You're going to have to deal with this pain. You either fight your way out of it, you fucking give up, right? Like there's no easy way out here. I like that framing of it. This is interesting. It's also indicative that they're going to hold on to these for a while. Yeah.
You would hope so. Now let's fast forward to the next match, which again, hire me. It helps to have details and continuity. If you're before this fucking match, going to have the trios champions say, open house rules. We're coming up with a new format. Anyone who wants it can come get it. Again, I'm paraphrasing here. Then when you do the Trey DeMaio Trios Battle Royal, make it for the number one contender.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was. Like, why did we have a Trios Battle Royal if it wasn't about that we said earlier? That one caught me confusing. Yeah.
It was the easiest thing. It was the easiest thing just to be like, no. So at, the next pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, the winner of this battle royal is taking on House of Black in a house rules match or whatever the fuck they're calling it. Like that's the easiest fucking God damn, guys. Fucking Will Washington. Where the fuck you at? First day. Come on. No, I'm kidding. All right,
Jeffrey Sill said Will Washington is a good, smart encyclopedia of wrestling, and he's also Swerve's cousin. So maybe he had a inside hookup on an interview.
He seems like a nice guy. He does.
Yeah.
Every interview
I
seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
In the trios battle royal was the Lucha Bros with Vikingo, Kip Sabian, Butcher and the Blade, Dark Order, Varsity Athletes, The Acclaimed, and the saddest moment of the night, QT Marshall, Aaron Solo, and Powerhouse Hobbs. How the fuck do you go losing from the TNT Championship to Battle Royal status?
And losing that.
Just because you got receding hairline QT Marshall next to you. What the fuck is that about?
Yeah, and another thing that I took from this whole Battle Royal also is in AEW in 2023, we cannot have Billy Gunn in a Battle Royal because Billy Gunn it just outsizes every single person there. He made Powerhouse Hobbs look like a small dude.
He made him look smaller. He didn't make him look like a
small
dude.
Right.
But
he
made him bring him back to size a little bit. But yeah, it's just he dwarfs everyone. Even because the one that I thought was like, oh, that's not a good look, is the Butcher. The Butcher looks like a little man next to fucking Billy Gunn. And that's where it's like, hey, Billy, you're really cool, but you got to stand 10 feet away from any other big guy we got.
But listen, you've been on the WWE diet for 40 years now and doing these competitions where like you're larger than any human being should be. It's probably unhealthy for you. So we've got to stop this.
Yeah. If you would have just ate meat and vegetables, you'd look like Kip Sabian, but because of the WWE diet, you'll look like you. So maybe just stop staring or standing next to all of our big guys. But yeah, so we get all the fun stuff. I will say the thing that stood out to me the most was, again, the Max Caster rap and the line where he talked about, hey, Dark Order, it's been a year and you still don't have a black friend. And it's just like, when are we going to address that? They're just white dudes hanging out with white dudes. Like, and I'm not saying, here's one thing that I will say. I've said for a long time, I am for lack of a better term, champion of diversity. I want diversity because I think more representation helps the community be less, sexist, racist, all the isses that there is in the world, right? So diversity helps with making you a better person. But I also don't want it to be forced, right? I don't want John Silver and Alex Reynolds to just be standing next to Swerve Strickland.
What we can't do is like, all right, every 4-man faction has to have one black guy, has to have one girl, has to have one other, has to have one white guy. Then it's all the same. Then it's not diverse. Right.
Yeah, but I do want, hey, the Dark Order is kind of a dorky group. You know who else is probably a dorky guy? The Captain Sean Dean. Like, what the fuck is he doing? Put him in there. You know what I mean? Like, motherfucker salutes to nothing. Like, get him in there. He's a fucking idiot. Assumed like he was a nice guy at the basketball thing. I will say that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, we can have more than just white dudes.
I like that he took a dig on the Lamar Jackson situation, even though he's in Baltimore. That was fun too.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, making more money than Lamar Jackson. I like that. So
Jeffrey Sill says Powerhouse Hobbs, Dark Order. Man, that would be a unique fit right there.
Powerhouse Hobbs, mink coat, no shirt, powerbomb motherfuckers. Here's the thing. Here's my pitch. Actually, we'll get to it when we get to it, but I got a pitch for Powerhouse Hobbs that is way better than what he's doing and way better than what someone else is doing. But at the end of this, the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass get the victory. So I guess we will do the math. And it seems like at Double or Nothing, we're going to get the House of Black versus the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. The hell is going to be that build up?
And is this in the open house rules? Like,
I would
that
assume
doesn't seem
so.
The 20-second outside the ring thing bothers me a little bit because these 10-second counts are already a minute and a half long, right?
Right, yeah.
We just call it a no count out, right? There's no count outs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the reasoning behind it is they're so dastardly that Brody King and Buddy Matthews want to inflict more pain on the
but I would just say no count outs because you can't escape, right? Like you can't run away from us.
Yeah, I like that better. Yeah, I agree.
We will drag you back from wherever you are, and you know what I mean?
I will say for the House of Black, this is a very make or break kind of feud because Max Caster can hit you with some rhymes that your character might not be able to come back from. He might point out whatever it is. For example, the Dark Order doesn't have any black friends, right? Like when he said that as a heel and you saw that with the Dark Order, you're like, oh yeah, what the fuck is that about?
Yeah, let's say he points out that one of Brody King's tattoos looks like a penis. He'll be done for the rest of his time in AEW.
Yeah, and it might, you know what I mean? Like, it might be backstage an inside joke that the one on his forearm kind of looks like a dick. And then if he brings that up, Brody King's got to wear fucking
He's
t-shirts.
The dick forearm guy from now on, yeah.
Yeah, he's got to wear long sleeve shirts all the time. So that's where it's very risky.
Just wears compression sleeves like he's Blue Tista.
Yeah, I hope, breaking kayfabe here for a second, that the 6 of them get backstage and like, hey, Max, we know you're going to say some shit. Here's like the 3 things you just please don't say, right? Just please don't say these 3 things because it'll kill us. Okay, cool, right? But because again, like I said, he'll ruin fucking House of Black in a heartbeat if he wants to. But we'll see what happens. Okay. Then we go backstage. Sammy Guevara told MJF he'd watch the show back from last week and he saw that no one was in the car.
Yeah.
And then MJF said, oh, he's got back pain from carrying the company and I'm a bad friend.
Yeah.
And he goes to walk off and Sammy says no and kisses him on the forehead. And I couldn't hear. Sidebar. Even going back to the Blackpool Combat Club segment. Another criticism I have outside of the camera shots being missed on big time moments, backstage sound barely could fucking hear anything.
Yeah. Yeah. What he was telling him was, he was like, you know, like, I'm sorry I doubted you. And he's like, cool, but I'm really like, miss, can you tell them what we got going on? Right. And he's like, yeah, I'll start telling them. But then the fun part of that is Sammy Guevara starts telling him and MJF just interrupts him anyway and starts talking over him. I loved another thing that's great about MJF, and we talk about like promo skills are great and does good wrestling and all that jazz. The timing of what he does is always spot on, right? So like the fake crying, the obvious overdone like voice of like, oh, I'm sad now, and the turn to walk away, and Sammy grabs his hand, and you just see the shit-eating grin, right? Like, I got this motherfucker, right? Yeah. And then he pulls him back, and his face is like, oh, you know, like what's going on, right? Perfect timing. And this is where MJF, where I'm not surprised if like MJF goes on to acting at some point, you know what I mean? When it starts to get, you know, a little too much on the bumping and bruising, right? Because he's got those kind of chops. And this was done really well here.
Yeah, he's doing that Von Erich movie, so he might be making connections right now as we speak.
Oh, the other thing too, where he was like, he goes, that's right. And then we're going to beat you guys. It's going to be a one-on-one match. And then he's going to lay down like a little bit like my best friend. And he was like, what were you going to say? And he's like, no, I said we got our theme music match. Yeah. Good stuff.
Very good. It was, I got it the second time around because the first time around, especially when Sammy pulled him back in, I couldn't get anything that first round because I was like, what the fuck are they saying? And so mic some motherfuckers up if you know they're going to be talking. God damn it.
Got something new in the chat here. Wrestling Talk.
What up?
What I'm looking at? It says, hey, new here. Well, welcome. Good. We love wrestling friends. We like new wrestling friends. So stick around, hang out, talk with us, join the Table Nation. You can check out more content from us on SpanishAnnounceTable.substack.com. Got to get the plugs in there. Plug it up like we're saying. Anyway.
Yeah, and subscribe to the channel. You'll get notified when we do this shit each and every week.
Yeah. Right now we're doing an AEW Dynamite recap, so Tom's going to get us back into what was going on that night.
Yeah, then we get into a really good backstage segment. Don Callis is back there with Kenny Omega. And Kenny Omega is essentially saying, hey, John Moxley, like next week. And Don Callis is like, I ain't having any of this shit. Look here, John. See what you did to my forehead? I got to wake up and see this thing every fucking week. And I'm going to.
For the rest of his life, too. That's an actual fucking mark he's got, man.
And he's like, I'm going to make Kenny Omega make you pay for what you did to me. So next week in a cage. And I swear to God, like we got Double or Nothing coming up in a couple weeks, but that's a pay-per-view quality match. John Moxley, Kenny Omega.
It is.
If it was WWE, my fear would be, oh, they're not even getting to the cage. Something's going to happen that will lead to Blackpool Combat Club versus the Elite. But with AEW, I feel like we're going to get a 20-minute fucking banger, and then we're going to get the story afterwards. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. Poor Don Callis, man. He really got himself good with that scar. Man, he really just hit that corner just right. Then he busted everything open.
Son of a bitch. Yeah. Okay. So then this is what I was alluding to earlier. I'm going to get to it now. Next up, we had Wardlow versus fill in the blank. Warm Body. Wardlow wins. Here's where Wardlow needs to stop. As much as I said, hey, Powerhouse Hobbs needs to put a mink coat on, no shirt, powerbomb motherfuckers. Wardlow needs to be like an not Assassin's Creed, but like Jason Statham or like some suave
silent assassin.
Yeah, because stop flexing because you're not bigger than anyone else on the fucking roster. Right? It looks like you're getting skinnier, especially with that singlet that's riding up your ass each and every time you fucking wrestle. Like the fucking thing gets higher and higher to be. It's by the time Double or Nothing happens, it's gonna be a fucking thong.
Maybe that's what he's going for.
Maybe. Hey, look, and cool. Like, that's fine, but that's not what you're
Right.
trying to tell me.
Yeah. Right.
And also, your power bombs, my guy, they're the safest looking power bombs ever. It's an edge spear. You know what I mean? Like, you know how Edge spears them like this and barely touches them? It's
I don't think this Arn Anderson thing is going to get him over the top. Remember when they tried to do Paul Heyman is now Cesaro's manager, and it just still didn't work right. It's just like there's still got to be something. I don't know. I'm not getting the feel out of Wardlow. You're right. Nothing feels better or even kind of moderately above average at what he does, right?
My hope is whatever, because look, I think the bookers that be, whether that's Christopher Daniels, Tony Khan, whoever the fuck it is, I think they identified, hey, we can't just try to put this square peg in a round hole and expect it to be fucking gold for us, right? I'm hoping that Arn Anderson is going to be the one after the next slip up from Wardlow transitions him into the next chapter, not trying to steal from Powerhouse Hobbs, but the next chapter of Wardlow. That's what my hope is, that why he's here, because as of right now, he's not done a thing, right? He's not said or done a thing to Wardlow that would make us say like, Arn Anderson's here, right? There's been fucking nothing. But
the mute here, whatever happened to this idea that we had a long time ago of like this new horseman in AEW. Now, if Arn Anderson wanted to lead a new horseman and Wardlow's just kind of the enforcer guy, right, where he's the muscle, doesn't say much, and then he's leading another thing, I mean, that would fit better than what we got. I
think he needs – so here's the thing with Wardlow. And again, I've seen him up close in person. We saw him at All Out in Chicago, September of last year.
Where we had floor seats because we're ballers.
He's not that fucking big. He's just not that fucking big. So this enforcer role needs to just get out of your fucking mind when you're booking.
Yeah.
It's not him. He's big. I'm not saying he's not big. He's not Adam Cole, but he is not this fucking, I can name 10 fucking guys on the AEW roster. Don't get me started on WWE, who are fucking bigger than this guy. So this fucking thing.
Yeah.
And I'll say this. I understand a little bit of my hypocrisy saying that, and then Taz being one of my favorite wrestlers who was 5 foot nothing throwing motherfuckers. But when Taz did his offense, it looked like it fucking hurt. So either keep doing this thing and break someone's fucking neck, not seriously, but make it look like it.
Yeah, you better ramp up the intensity with that, right? Like, I'd rather see the Suplex City versus this Powerbomb Symphony, right?
Or like, you know how Kevin Nash used to do his power bombs where he would just be like, you're up there. Fucking sucks to be you. Like something like that, where it's like, I don't fucking care about these people. Watch them go, you know?
See ya.
He's like, he's just doing this like, I'm following to the ground and there they are. And now
how about we change it to an Arn Anderson classic, and let's change his finisher to a Brain Buster.
Spine Buster
would work.
Yeah. Well, Powerhouse Hobbs kind of does it, but that's
that's where the Brain Buster comes in, right? Then he's just dumping guys on their heads.
Yeah. Something, but like Wardlow ain't working. With all that being said, after the match, Wardlow says, Luchasaurus, get your big fucking dinosaur ass out here. We're fucking fighting right now. Here comes Christian Cage and Luchasaurus. And here's the swerve. Oh, you thought the shot was for Luchasaurus? It's for me. Now, Tim, I have a question for you on that. It looked to me, with my grizzled old eyes, that after Christian said, it's me, not Luchasaurus, Wardlow and Arn Anderson said, interesting. But Luchasaurus stood there by himself going, huh? Like, wait a minute. It's him? Or am I misreading that?
Well, I noticed he stayed afterwards and kind of looked at him, but I don't know that with that mask and kind of his dark hair and features that we can necessarily read a facial. So I don't know if I got the same read out of that, but it did cross my mind as like, why would Luchasaurus sign up for this?
Right. Why would he come from the
Yeah.
depths
Well, we
of
come
hell.
back after all this time with more darkness now for this. Like, man, Christian really is a good cult leader, right? If that's what we're saying here, which, again, I love Christian. I'm saying the praises of Christian Cage for a decade now on this show, but that did feel odd to me, right? And it also makes me kind of wonder, is it what we're getting, or is that still part of the lead up to this? Maybe Luchasaurus does, but it's kind of a swerve. I don't know. I don't know where to think about this, and I guess they've been slow playing this from the jump, so more will come. But I'm afraid that more will come means we got to see more Wardlow out there, you know. It's straps down time. Like, all right, I don't give a shit.
Cool.
Right.
Your 20 and a half inch arms that I see fucking every day at Chiefs Fit.
Planet Fitness dudes, guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Really throwing me back. Yeah. All right. Then let's get into
Wardlow looks like a bouncer in a bar. He doesn't look like the monster that's coming into the pro wrestling ring and hitting it. Now, the bouncer at the bar is bigger than you, gonna throw you out if you're acting up, right? But like
he looks like the bouncer in the bar who wants you to say, "Hey, I'm physically impressive. Don't fucking make this escalate.
Don't fight me."
But when it does, hey, I need two people. I need two here. And then they're all fucking getting you. And you're like, you're a bitch.
Yeah.
You've done that before, right? Oh, I have.
What?
Got kicked out and like, you're fucking bigger than me. Why'd you need two other people, pussy? And then just like, motherfucking, your hands behind your back, you pussy.
I don't think I've been thrown out of a bar like that where the bouncer needed to like throw me out. I've been told I gotta go, and I went. But that was because it was in the bar on a military installation when I was serving, and I was like, all right, I'm not trying to, you know what I mean? Not trying to get ruined over this. So yes, that's fun though. But you're right. He does look like the guy. Again, he looks like a guy who works out, but isn't a fighter. Right?
Man, that just got me thinking. There was one time where a former co-host of mine way back in the day, Ozone.
Oh, yeah.
And a former number one contender for a UFC championship and myself were hanging out in a very well-established bar, the kind of bar you need to wear a tie to. And we were not the type that were wearing ties.
You even own ties then?
But like we weren't wearing them, right?
Yeah.
And it got to the point where unnamed UFC fighter, as we were all getting kicked out, forcefully said, "I've been kicked out of nicer places than this before." I just love that line.
So many names are coming across my mind that I'll have to get with you on the backside.
Like, I've been kicked out of to shit on the place right before he's out. I just love that. Anyhow, that's sidebar. Let's get back into Dynamite. Here's a controversial segment, at least in my eyes, because I don't know if I saw it, but I saw people who said best segment of the night, best segment of AEW's year. I didn't see it, but what we had here was a pre-tape segment. Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, Satnam Singh show up at Mark Briscoe's house. And they want to apologize for the misunderstanding. Mark Briscoe says, "Hey, guys, it's time to get to work." So then we get country shenanigans. Jeff Jarrett's mowing. Satnam Singh's in overalls. And then Jeff Jarrett's going to sing his song, right? Because that's the thing that first got him over and got him over again on his podcast or on, I guess, whatever, Whistle Dick's podcast. What the fuck's that guy's name? Bruce Pritchard. That's his name. And right before he's going to sing, Papa Briscoe comes out and everyone straightens up and they leave. And then Papa Briscoe's like, "Hey, watch out for the guy in the overalls." And Mark Briscoe's like, "Which one?" He's like, "Both of them."
Both of them. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And so then we finally wrap this segment up with Jay Lethal saying, "Hey, look, Jeff Jarrett beat one of your FTR guys. I beat the other FTR guy. Double or nothing. It's us, Team TNA versus FTR. And Mark Briscoe, you beat FTR. So give us some strategy." And we end the segment.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah, somebody said to you that this was the greatest AEW segment of all time?
Oh, of the year. No, of the year. They said of the year. They're
No.
like, this is
Listen,
our best.
again, I didn't hate this. This is fine for me. Like, if I've got to deal with Jeff Jarrett and whatever, like this kind of segment, I prefer. Right? It's a little tongue in cheek. It's got some humor associated with it. We're going out to see the crazy Mark Briscoe world. I can live with that. That's fine. I liked it. I didn't hate it. And it fit, right? I mean, we've known the chicken farm to be a wacky place in pro wrestling lore. So, and the Mark Briscoe stuff fits. Again, another issue that we have here, though, is AEW's running into this again where I don't know who Daddy Briscoe is, right? Or Papa Briscoe is, if I've never watched anything but AEW or even WWE television ever. You might gather from the appearance that he's his father, right? But like, I don't know the story behind why everybody's afraid of him and why he, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So it was fine. It's certainly in no way, I think a segment we get later, it was probably better than than this one. Yeah.
Yeah. So look, first off, it's a coincidence, but like I'm wearing a Briscoe shirt. I fucking love the Briscoes. I loved when it was Briscoe versus Briscoe on the chicken farm and Papa Briscoe was the fucking ref. I like the majority of all of the chicken farm segments in Ring of Honor and that deal with Mark Briscoe. I think Mark Briscoe was the best part of this segment. Who I honestly had the biggest beef with was Sanjay Dutt. And I get it. It was supposed to be tongue in cheek, but like he's turning into like, you know, when a TV show becomes successful and then towards the end of their run, the characters stop being characters and they become caricatures of who they are. That's who Sanjay Dutt feels like. It's like, now you're just a caricature of the Weasley little heel manager. And it's like, you're overacting. You're not believable. You take me out of the segment. Like, for as great as Stokely Hathaway is on one side, Sanjay Dutt lately has been on the opposite side as far as bad.
Yeah, I agree with that. I didn't again, Satnam didn't give you much to complain about because he's just sitting there looking out of place in his overalls, which is great, right?
Yeah.
Mark Briscoe, though, is great. He's like, the hell you guys here for? And they're like, oh, whatever, we're here to work. And he's like, you're here to work? Well, let's go, right? Like, let's get it going. And I like where they're like, you know what I mean? They're like, we just did that. And he's like, not enough, right? Like that kind of shit, right? All of that was fine. But yeah, man, the cast of characters we're dealing with here are just, they're off-putting.
Well, and Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, and at least in this segment, didn't do anything memorable enough for me to even know what they did.
Yeah.
It was just Sanjay Dutt every time. I was like, dude, stop. You're a try hard. Like, calm down and you'll be way better at this, which he's been doing it for a long time. So
subtlety. I don't need you to act, you know what I mean? Like you're dumb, right? Like I just need you to be a little slow, right? Like when we're talking about that kind of.
Yeah. Right. Or overly like, what the hell is going on? It's stop, man. I don't need that shit. Another thing I don't need is one half of the next matchup we get. It's Ricky Starks, one of the cooler guys in pro wrestling, versus Juice Robinson and Bullet Club, Rubber Band Gold, whatever the fuck, Gold Bond.
Bang Bus Gang.
Bullshit. Yeah, Bang Bros, Bubble Butts. I don't know what the fuck they call themselves. They suck. They're fucking nerds. Yeah. I've tried to give them a chance. And look, I'm still going to hold out hope. There has to be something that I'm missing because everyone has fucking told me that Jay White is the fucking switchy blade and I'm waiting for it. But each time he comes off cringier and cringier.
It just doesn't feel, again, I don't see anything overwhelming me with like, hey, this guy's amazing at fill in the blank. Right. So I just, I can deal without Jay White. It was another one when he showed up. I thought, man, why is he here? Same thing with this rock hard Juice Robinson. I think the same thing. Now, I want to give him credit. We said like Ricky Starks has to win this, right? Like he's got to be the guy who comes away from this feud as winning. And so he won this match. I don't know if the feud's over, but he won this match.
Well, and then the other thing that I noticed is, hey, Jay White, you're so fucking cool, right? You're neat. You're the hot free agent that both WWE and AEW wanted. You're the fucking talk of the town, the talk of the industry. It's been 3 weeks and all of a sudden now you're dressing like Ricky Starks. So maybe you're not that fucking cool. Because the last thing I remember hearing about you before all this bullshit was essentially you're a fucking Kenny Omega ripoff. And so now you're ripping off Ricky Starks style. Maybe you're just a biter. Maybe you just bite on everyone else's shit and you ain't really got anything. Bullet Club, it's been 10 fucking years. And now it's gold. Look at this. We're going to put our hands on a gun signal and smack them together. Fucking nerd. Like,
we've said this before. This is a long-term phrase that we've used here. And this is what I meant by it. These are nerds that act cool, right? They act like they're the cool guys in the room, but the cool guys in the room think they're fucking nerds, right? Like it just, I don't know.
And if you're a nerd and you like this, let me just tell you, stop. There's cooler people to fucking look up.
Listen, if you're a nerd, don't.
Yeah, just don't first. But if you're going to look up to someone, Ricky Starks is better. Swerve Strickland is better. MJF is better.
Powerhouse Hobbs.
Hobbs is better. Even if you want to go a little bit, Darby Allin's cooler than these fucking guys. And we don't even like Darby Allin that much, but he's fucking more believable and more authentic than these fucking tryhards. And I know I'm using tryhards a lot because I'm trying not to say another word, but like these guys are not fucking cool. They're the JV team of fucking being something in this industry. They're fucking nothing, guys. Cool. They got a fucking move they can do. I bet you I can find 10 fucking guys at Central States Wrestling that can do the same thing, probably a little bit better. Like, I stop.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool when Jay White beats Ricky Starks at Double or Nothing. Next up, we get backstage. MJF sneaks into Darby Allin and Jungle Boy's locker room as Darby Allin walked out. And here's we'll get to it here, but a wrestling trope that I've never understood. But let's get to it. So MJF goes back there and he reminds Jungle Boy, hey, remember a long time ago when I said like, cut the goody two shoes bullshit and like you could be the top guy? I mean, look what I'm fucking doing for Sammy Guevara. He's never mattered more than when he's with me.
Never made more money. Never all of that. Yeah.
So how about you kick this fucking little
dork?
Yeah, this little nerd over here to the curb. Me and you hang out. Now you can't be Chimp because you're not that good, but it'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And then Jungle Boy does his, no, I'm not going to do it. Right. And so here's the pro wrestling trope. So then Darby comes back, opens the door, and then MJF is like, hey, you need to talk to your partner. You need to talk to your partner, and walks out. And Darby Allin goes, what's that? And here's the pro wrestling trope. Jungle Boy just goes, just say it. Hey, man, he tried to get in between us.
Yeah, right.
Just say
yeah, when he says don't worry about it, why didn't he just say he was trying to be a douchebag and he was trying to fucking get me to swerve you over?
Yeah, just say the thing. I've never understood why a babyface would be like, it's not important.
Yeah, because if you want that to happen, he goes, what was that? And then he goes, well, and he goes, you know what? Fucking save it. I don't know if I'll believe the answer you give me. Right? Like,
you could do that. Yeah, that would be the okay. Then Jungle Boy says, well, then piss off.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because then you have that like, all right, well, fuck you too, man. Don't believe me.
For you to just, for the babyface, which again has been a pro wrestling thing for as long as I can remember, just to be like, dude, it's fine. What? Just say it.
Yeah, anyhow. Just say it.
So
but again, the execution of what they try to do here, I think, ultimately, I give it good grades here because it was that, right? Him sneaking in there, trying to create the tension, and then the tension is created, even though it wasn't the way he wanted, right? Like it's good stuff.
Yeah. Now, again, that was my criticism, not of just those three, but just pro wrestling as a whole. For what they did, it was spot on. It was very good. That's just a splitting hairs thing that I've always noticed. So yeah, now we get into the main event. It is MJF, Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and Jungle Boy. Tim, what'd you think of this Four Pillars tag team match.
The match was good, right? The reason we like all these guys is they put on a good show, and they've been telling us a good story. I felt like this was a lot of roundabout to get where we're getting now. They had to fill a lot of time. So interesting. I don't think we've ever seen it done this way before, to build a Fatal 4-Way where it was like, we want a Fatal 4-Way. No. 3-man tournament to determine the thing. One person wins, but now we're going to try to get you back in, right? Yeah. I guess it's been fine. But you just knew how this was going to go, right? Like we knew they had to win.
To a certain extent. The thing that I like the most is, so on one side of the matchup, MJF and Sammy Guevara, it went exactly as we thought, right? Hey, they're working together. They're doing all the heel tactics. And then they implode. And one of them wants the pin and the other one wants the pin. Okay. But what I liked is that same attitude was also on the babyface side, where Jungle Boy hits his fucking finisher and he goes for the pin. Didn't realize that Darby tagged himself in, does the coffin drop, and he gets the victory. Ha, ha, ha. I did it all on my own. I like that aspect of, hey, going into this match, we ain't cool. Like, I know we don't like those two, but I don't like you either. So I like that aspect.
I would have leaned on that even a little bit more. Like, after the coffin drop move, I would have had Jungle Boy, like, watching the pinfall and then at the last second take him off and almost be like, shit, why did I do that? You know what I mean? Like, fuck, no, pin him again. Sorry, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, just, then I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Right? Like, maybe do that. Like, I don't know.
Or like do the coffin drop and then he takes Darby's leg and pulls him and then tags himself back in and then he gets the pin. Like, you bitch, you thought you were going to get one on me? Yeah, right. Something like that. But I do like that all four guys have friction. It's not, we're on the same page going into this. We're past that. All of us don't like each other in one way or the other. And then we get the graphic at the end to finish up the show where it hits MJF. Oh God, I got to wrestle all three of them. But
I still would have preferred, I think the better, more fun story to tell is they continue this bullshit, friend, I'm going to take a dive for you. And then we get to the match and he doesn't, right? And seeing that story unfold live into a real match, we're getting robbed of that now because now nobody can run this same gimmick back and get there. You know what I mean? Like, like I felt like they did two stories in the one here.
However,
I just wish we wouldn't have done that.
However, I know they imploded, but we could, hey, they made up this week. They could make up again and then say, hey, what we're going to do going into this match is we're going to take out Darby first, right? He's the smallest of the two. Then we're going to go after Jungle Boy. And then from there, hey, remember that check I wrote you? Lay down. And Sammy goes, you're right, MJF, you're always right. And then,
you can say you can still get your money if you still help me win here, right? We're both going to take out those things. We'll have the thing. And then, and then maybe in match, he's like, nope, he does the like yank MJ off, and MJF was like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, sorry. Pin him again, and he pins him, and then he still pulls him off. He's like, sorry, I'm fucking, we just won't let MJF win.
Here's what I would do. If I have the pin, again, little T-Mac fun time here. This is how I would do this, just to really fuck over MJF. Because I think we can all agree MJF's winning this match, right? He's going to continue his title reign, right? This is what I would do. We say that, right? On the next Dynamite. And then going into the pay-per-view, Sammy and MJF are reunited again. They're going to be on the same page. We get to Double or Nothing. Sammy's like, hey, man, remember our agreement? Like that check? Like, we've had some bumpy roads. I'm going to need that like before this matchup, right?
Yeah.
And MJF is like, but are you going to do it? He's like, of course. When have I failed? Like we had that little mix up in the tag match, but since then, what have I ever done wrong? He's like, okay. And he writes the check, and hands it to him. And then he leaves. And let's just say MJF talks to like one of his rats, because sometimes he'll have women there, stuff. And he's like, he won't even have time to fucking cash it. And we go into the match. Then it's a knockdown drag out fight, right? Coffin drops, all the shit. We get to the part where it's just Sammy and MJF in the ring. And Sammy looks at MJF. Sammy lays down. MJF's like, he's really going to fucking do it. Lays on top of him. 1, 2. He kicks out. And then MJF's like, what the fuck was that? And Sammy's like, what? He's like, you're lay down. And then Sammy points up to the big screen. Ty Mello has the fucking check and she's cashing it. And then the fucking money is gone from MJF.
I like it.
And then they go into fighting each other.
I like that.
That's what they should do.
I even like if we find a way to get Sammy to actually help MJF win, and then Sammy goes to cash the check and it's no good. It's like not a real check.
Yeah, now that's going to be, if
fake.
you really want to make
They're like, sir, he signed this Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, if you really wanted to like fuck Sammy over, that would be the funniest thing. But to fuck over MJF because he's now the champ, right? Because then he gets a pin on Jungle Boy. But he's the champ, and I'm making up a number here, $5 million poor, right? And so you're the champ, but now you ain't got no fucking money. And then you could even do a couple weeks of him in the poorhouse, right? Have him coming up in like a Volkswagen Beetle to the Dynamite because he doesn't have any money for his cars, like doing something silly like that.
Yeah. Jeffrey Sill says the tournament was stupid. The format was dumb. I think they should have had a 4 pillars round robin tournament. They all wrestle each other at least once before, and the best 2 goes to Double or Nothing for the championship. Yeah, I mean, I think we even discussed a similar idea on the show. But
what would you do with the third then? But what would you do with the third? Right? So the 2 go to take on.
Yeah, see, the 4 pillars thing doesn't, because like what if MJF wasn't in the top 2? So you almost have to like,
Right.
No, but you could have done a 3-way round robin, right? Because that only would have taken you a couple of weeks.
But then what do you do for Double or Nothing for, let's say it's Sammy Guevara that doesn't make it in?
Oh, yeah. No.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because the whole selling point of this is 4 pillars. So like, I will say, you can tell, I think it was Jonathan Snowden on Twitter that we had this conversation on, and he said, like, if these are the 4 best wrestlers in your promotion right now, your promotion's in trouble. And I don't think that's necessarily the story AEW's ever told us. It's the in the future, this is what will be the best.
Yeah, this is our foundation of our youth, kind of a
right. I will say though, you can tell what each one brings in their own right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Sammy has the teen pop looks and does the crazy moves. Obviously, Darby is your Linkin Park emo. Jungle Boy is the all-American good guy that's here to just win matches the right way. And then MJF's the biggest scumbag of all time, right? So it is good to see like, hey, these are how they're different, right?
Yeah.
This isn't just 4 Dolph Zigglers and we think they're really cool going forward.
It's not 4 Mrs., right?
Yeah, not 4
right,
Mrs. in a ring, yeah.
Yeah, so
that
we're,
was AEW Dynamite.
Didn't hate it. I thought they had a lot of good segments here. I thought they built a lot in the storyline, so I'm excited that we're rolling into Double or Nothing here, and just excited to get to the next week, I guess, and see where we go from it.
Yeah, I think I'm really excited. The story that I'm anticipating the most going into the pay-per-view is however we get this elite Blackpool Combat Club. It feels like that's the match, but where's Takeshita? What's up with Hangman? How are we going to get this cage match in and out of the way to make it a title match or make it a tag team match later? So we'll see what happens.
Yep. Jeffrey Sills, one final question. This is, who are your true 4 pillars of AEW?
Right now? Like, here are the 4 best wrestlers for AEW, like we build on.
That. Yeah.
Moxley,
yep.
Hangman,
yep, those are the 2 I got.
Omega. That 4th one is hard because those 3 are easy.
Yeah. The Danielson? I don't know. He's not. It felt like he's been in and out too much, right?
but he's not as active. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's like the big
right.
spot. MJF. There you go. That's what I would say.
MJF.
I would say.
Right. Yeah. MJF, Omega,
Moxley.
Mox, and Hangman. Yeah, that feels more like a true 4 pillars of AEW.
Yeah.
Yep,
yeah. Because
I agree
if
with
you're
that.
ranking the future 4, obviously MJF is 1, 2, and 3, and the rest of them are fighting for tied for 4th. And I think Darby wins out of the rest of the 3. If I'm ranking the future 4, it's MJF, Darby, Jungle Boy, Sammy.
So the actual 4 pillars.
No, what I'm saying is if ranking those 4, if I
Yeah.
had to rank the 4 pillars that they have.
Oh, those 4 in what order?
Of those
1 to
4, that's who I'm.
Yeah, that makes sense. I thought you were saying, like, if I had to name the,
No,
young 4
no.
pillars, I was like, well, you just named the 4 pillars. Yeah.
No.
I got you.
Well, and here's the thing that I don't think people realize is like they're young, but Hangman's not much older than them. It's like a couple years. You know what I mean? So like, really, he should be this pillar that they're talking about, but they threw him right in the main event from show 1. So it's a little different. And also Ricky Starks, I think, could surpass
Ricky Starks,
a Sammy Guevara easy.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that.
Now, Jeffrey, if you're asking me who my 4 favorite are, I'm going to have to kick Kenny Omega out and put Eddie Kingston. But I understand, Kit, right now, Eddie Kingston's over in Ring of Honor, so I'll play by the rules, but there ain't no one cutting a better fucking promo than Eddie Kingston. Nobody.
All right, I think we can leave you there. We'll remind you to go to SpanishAnnounceTable.substack.com. Subscribe there. You can get the podcast. You can get all the articles each day. You can get the Pro Wrestling's Best News.
Yeah, Wrestling Talk and Jeffrey Sills. We see who subscribe. We don't see you two. So go there to the Substack and subscribe. Come on.
And we told you, you're going to be our wrestling friends. Like, this isn't a question. We're not asking you to be our wrestling friends. We're telling you, be our wrestling friends.
The Spanish Announce Table.